Imagine the courtroom, so quiet you can hear the wall clock ticking. Kody Brown, the man America used to know as the leader of a polygamous family on Sister Wives, now sits rigid in his chair, jaws clenched, fists on the table. In front of him, Christine stands up slowly, her eyes blazing with years of betrayal and inner strength. And then, it occurs. A document is passed across the judge's bench within the reality of Kody's secret gun empire, concealed for years. In that instant, everything shifts. If you believe Sister Wives was simply reality TV, what you are about to hear will leave you questioning everything. Stick with me because this narrative is about power, deception, and the astonishing moment when Christine ultimately triumphs. The Flagstaff, Arizona, courthouse doesn't amount to much from the outside. Beige-colored stone, large glass doors, a group of reporters standing against the railing, coffee cups in their hands. But the inside is a different story. The tension is so thick in there that it seems like the air itself won't budge. Christine is seated at the plaintiff's table. Her hair is nicely coiffed, her attire professional but modest. She's ready for this more so than she was ready for the television cameras. Her lawyer whispers something in her ear, but her gaze remains fixed on the man in the room, Kody Brown. Kody appears changed now. The unkempt curls which had lent a youthful vitality to his appearance are now in check, pulled back, but with threads of gray woven through them. His eyes flick anxiously towards the rear of the courtroom, where Robyn sits, hands folded, lips shaking. Janelle and Mary are not present. The rift which in this previously cohesive family could hardly be more stark. Christine has a sense of what's about to go down. For years she carried secrets, papers she never imagined she'd ever need, receipts hidden away in folders, late-night conversations she overheard between Kody and his business associates. Now those secrets have a platform. The judge raps on her gavel to quiet the room. Cameras are excluded, but the gallery is spilling over with local journalists and a few curious faces, neighbors, former church members, even two die-hard Sister Wives enthusiasts who scored seats. Christine breathes slowly. She recalls the beginning when Kody promised her security, family, and religion. She recalls the tears that flowed when those promises were shattered. And now, sitting here, she senses the weight of vindication bearing down. This is not about dollars, it's about truth. The judge leans forward, his eyes piercing. We are here today to address financial disclosures concerning Mr. Brown's assets and businesses. Murmurs spread through the courtroom. Kody tenses. Christine smiles weakly, because she knows what's to come will surprise everyone. This is where the story gets dramatic. Christine isn't only fighting for herself, she's pulling the curtain on all that Kody wanted to keep in the dark. Christine's attorney stands, fidgeting with his tie. Your Honor, we have proof that Mr. Brown has withheld a substantial business venture, one that has brought a great deal of revenue over the last 10 years. Kody fidgets in his chair, his mouth compressing into a thin line. He mutters something roughly to his attorney, but the words carry by just enough for them to be overheard. They can't make it stick. The judge raises an eyebrow. Mr. Brown, you'll have your chance. Continue. Christine's lawyer opens a large folder. Inside, documents, contracts, invoices. But what captures the room is not the paper. It's the audio file that plays next. A recording. Kody's voice, talking about shipments, about licensing, about profits. Words like guns and private sales float through the speakers, echoing against the wood-paneled walls. Gasps abound. Robyn's hand even shoots up to her mouth, eyes open in horror. Christine doesn't glance at her. She doesn't have to. She only straightens her spine, her face serene but victorious. Do you feel it? That moment when truth finally breaks out, and there's no turning back. But Christine doesn't smile. Not yet, because she knows this isn't over. The court has merely heard the first piece of evidence. What follows will decide everything. The judge settles back, eyeing Kody. Mr. Brown, these recordings indicate you've been running a firearms business without disclosure to this court or to your family trust. Do you deny this? Kody swallows hard. Those were conversations taken out of context. I was looking at possibilities, nothing more. The lawyer continued. Looking at possibilities doesn't account for the bank transfers, the shipments, or the accounts set up in shell company names. Accounts that trace back to you, Mr. Brown. Christine glances down at her hands. They're shaking lightly. This is what she wanted. but the heaviness of saying Kody's truth out loud feels more than she expected. And yet, she remembers, this is just the start. Because when secrets this enormous are pulled into the light, someone always gets singed. The judge leans forward, glinting at Kody. Full disclosure. Now, the gavel comes down, a sound like thunder. Christine breathes out, but in her gut she knows, round one, merely the beginning. The real fight has not even begun. The ring of the gavel rings out still as the courtroom quiets once more. Kody's face is rosy, a bright red flushing up his neck. His jaw clenches, and for the first time, the man who once swaggered with TV bravado appears trapped. Christine is silent. She doesn't have to be. The hush after the recording is heavier than any speech she might utter. The reporters in the gallery write frantically, pens scratching against notebooks, and the judge looks down with a face chiseled from granite. Kody tilts forward over his attorney, mumbling through gritted teeth, "We can appeal this, it's hearsay." But Christine's attorney stands up again, his tone firm. "Your Honor, we expected that line of thinking. That's why we have supporting documents, financial reports, transfers, even email threads." A collective intake of breath passes through the crowd. Robyn fidgets in her chair, glancing back and forth between Kody and Christine. She appears on the verge of tears, but they do nothing to temper the gravity of what's left unsaid. Christine breaks her silence, her tone flat but laced with years of pent-up anger. "For years," he said, "we were broke. There was not enough money to maintain the family, to afford houses, food for the kids. But while we were living hand to mouth, while I was selling my jewelry on the internet just to make ends meet, he was keeping this from us. A gun enterprise. Profits we never saw." Her words cut across the courtroom with the sharpness of a knife. Kody tenses, his lawyer's hand gripping his arm as though to hold him steady. This is where the audience leans in. The moment of transition from personal betrayal to irrefutable proof. The judge waves Christine's attorney on. Deliberately slowly he lays out photographs on the evidence projector. Crisp, grainy shots of storage units, crates with serial numbers labeled on them, and receipts signed into evidence glint on the screen before everyone. Kody gasps sharply, his bluster crumbling. He glances over to Robyn, seeking reassurance, but she looks away. She has always been his best supporter, but now even she appears stunned. Christine doesn't crow. She doesn't grin, she just observes. At this point her power isn't born of revenge, but of survival. She is no longer the reserved wife in the shadows. She is the woman who had the courage to stand up to the man who dominated her existence for decades. Kody's lawyer finally rises, his voice booming, desperate to regain control. "Your Honor, these images prove nothing more than storage. My client has always been a collector. These are personal investments, not a business." The judge raises an eyebrow. "Then perhaps you'd like to explain why these personal investments were funneled through 3 separate LLCs, each tied to offshore accounts." The courtroom gasps again. Christine's attorney flips another page. "We also have the wire transfers, Your Honor. Dates, amounts, all consistent with a running business operation. Hidden deliberately." Kody slams his hand against the table. "This is ridiculous. Christine is doing this because she hates me, because she wants to ruin me in front of everyone." His words resonate, but they lack the power they used to hold. They are instead laced with desperation. Christine does not blink. She gives his tirade a calm glare. Her tone is even as she speaks. "I'm doing this because you lied to us. Because you constructed your empire on deception while we bore the burden of your decisions." When silence comes after truth, it's the sort of silence that slices deeper than any scream. The judge bangs his gavel again, demanding order. "Mr. Brown, calm down. This is a courtroom, not a theater." Kody slumps back into his chair, his shoulders tense. For years he lived on television, spinning stories for the world to watch. But here, there are no cameras, no editing room, no opportunity to spin the truth. Only facts, only repercussion. Christine looks at the journalists in the gallery. She knows the headlines already typed themselves out. Kody Brown exposed. Secret gun enterprise uncovered. Christine Victor. Robyn brushes a tear from her cheek, her whisper shattering the silence. "Kody, what did you do?" But Kody doesn't respond. His eyes flash with anger, embarrassment, and something else, fear. Christine's lawyer continued. We also call to the witness stand a witness, a former business associate of Mr. Brown's who can confirm the activities of this so-called business. The rear doors of the courtroom groan open, heads swivel. A man enters broad-shouldered, wearing a simple suit, holding a folder under his arm. He moves to the front, his face impassive, his steps deliberate. Christine knows him immediately. One of the men Kody used to see after hours, when he thought everyone was looking the other way. The gallery buzzes, the air thickening like an impending storm. Each secret pulls someone else into the open, and Christine is aware that this witness may be the one to tip the scales. At last, sealing Kody's destiny, the judge administers the oath to the witness. His tone is level, but his hands clutch the folder tightly, knuckles white. I worked with Mr. Brown on several occasions. We arranged shipments. We negotiated margin. We knew it wasn't completely legal, but he said it had to be done. He said nobody would ever find out. Christine can feel her chest constrict. Even after all the proof, hearing those words spoken aloud hurts the betrayal more. She catches Kody's eye, hoping to see remorse, to see even a hint of recognition. But all she finds is denial. His head shaking back and forth like he refuses to accept. Kody erupts. Lies. He's lying. They're all lying. The judge bangs the gavel. Once more. Mr. Brown. One more outburst, and I'll have you ejected. Christine's attorney doesn't even blink. Your Honor, we present these reports from the witness substantiating his testimony. The folder swings open, pages pouring over onto the evidence table. Invoices. Shipment records. Handwritten notes in Kody's handwriting. The courtroom is caught in a stunned silence, and Christine, sitting rigid, finally exhales a breath she didn't even know she was holding. Because the deeper the lies unravel, the closer she comes to the justice she's been waiting for. The judge gathers the papers, her face unreadable. She looks up, staring directly at Kody. This evidence is damning, Mr. Brown. If what I'm seeing is accurate, we're not only discussing financial fraud, we're discussing federal violation. The room gasps. Christine's heart thuds. For the first time she understands that this battle may not only ruin Kody's reputation, it may ruin his freedom too. The judge's words still linger in the courtroom. Federal violations. Reporters almost jump out of their chairs, racing to grab every minute detail. The air rings with the sound of wild typing, like 1,000 tiny hammers on steel. Kody sits stock still. But his tranquility is false. It's the tranquility of a storm on the verge of breaking. His body heaves and drops with quick, shallow breaths. His fingers tap against the table. Agitated, frantic. Robyn leans forward, whispering urgently, Kody, please, please don't make this any worse. But worse is already on its way. Christine's attorney clears his throat. Your Honor, prior to going any further, I'd like to introduce testimony from Mrs. Brown herself. Christine has personal experience with the financial manipulation that preceded this business. The judge gestures for him to continue. Proceed. Christine stands up slowly. For a second, the strength she brought into this room wavers. Her knees shake, her heart beats like a drum against her chest. She readjusts the microphone, her voice gentle at first, but firm enough to project. When I married Kody, I trusted him. I trusted every word that came out of his mouth about family, about building something together. He informed us there wasn't enough money to go around, that sacrifices had to be made. I trusted him. We all did. But then, I began to find things, bank statements, receipts that didn't add up, trips he couldn't account for. At first I thought it was me, that I was paranoid, that I didn't have enough faith. She gulps hard, crying back tears. But it wasn't me, it was him. All along. Kody pounds his fist on the table. She's lying. She's always hated me. This is revenge. Plain and simple. The judge slaps her hand sharply on the table. Mr. Brown, one more outburst and I will hold you in contempt. The gallery erupts in whispers. Christine doesn't blink this time. She stares directly into Kody's eyes, and for the first time, allows her own fury overflow through her words. You said my kids didn't deserve more because there wasn't more to give. You said I was selfish for wanting security, for needing stability, and all the while you were keeping this empire. Guns, profits, accounts you never wanted us to see. Do you have any idea what that did to me, Kody? To all of us, her voice breaks, but she doesn't cease. When a voice silenced for years finally speaks, it is with the strength of 1,000 screams. Robyn's weeping shatters the ensuing silence. She says something in a voice too quiet for anyone but Kody to hear. But the action with which he recoils his head from her speaks volume. The coalition between them is breaking apart. Christine goes on, her voice shaking but relentless. This is not about money. This is about every night I lay awake, trying to figure out how to feed our children. It's about him showering one wife with presents, while informing the rest of us that we had to do with less. It's about deceptions that cut so deep. I began to think I was going mad for even doubting him. Her attorney puts a soft hand on her shoulder, as though to anchor her. Christine is steady now though. For the first time, she knows her voice doesn't belong here. Her voice belongs here. It belongs in history. The judge leans forward. Mrs. Brown, are you stating that you have personal knowledge that these funds were intentionally withheld from the family trust? Christine nods hard. Yes, Your Honor. I saw it. I lived it. And I kept the records. For years. Gasps wave again. Even the reporters stand still, pens suspended in mid-air. Christine pulls a stack of documents out of her folder, carefully labeled, neatly stacked. She sets them on the evidence table. The judge scans the pages, her eyes squinting. Mr. Brown, these records indicate an intentional attempt to conceal income. Dates correlate transfers that we've already been presented. Do you not deny this? Kody's lips open, but he is silent. His brashness has broken, replaced by stillness. Sometimes the most deafening moment in a courtroom isn't an explosion. It's the silence that comes after irrefutable truth. Robyn rises suddenly, her chair screeching against the floor. This isn't right. He did this for us, for the family. You don't understand the pressure he's been under. The judge's gavel comes down. Mrs. Brown, sit down. This court will not tolerate theatrics. Robyn's cheeks burst into a crimson flush as she drops back into her seat, tears streaming down her face. Kody's eyes blaze at Christine, but behind the fury there's something else, fear. Christine sits back again, gasping for breath but refusing to blink. She wants him to see her strength, to realize that the years of silence are at an end. The judge lays the papers down. We will recess for a moment before resuming. When we reconvene, I will be hearing arguments for sanctions and potential referrals to federal authorities. The gavel thunders again. Reporters jump to their feet, hurrying for the doors to write breaking news. The gallery breaks into cacophony. Christine remains seated, her hands clasped daintily, her gaze cast down. But within something is shifting. Relief, pain, vindication. As the bailiff departs the room, Kody elbows across the table to his lawyer, his tone low and venomous. She thinks she's won. She has no idea what's coming. Christine does hear him. And for the very first time, rather than fear, she feels determination. Because any threat loses its force once the truth comes out at last. As Christine is collecting her papers, she sees something, a sealed envelope at the bottom of her folder. It's not hers. Someone had slid it there. She freezes, heart racing. When she looks inside, her eyes boggle. Papers she's never seen before. Papers that might turn everything around, not only for Kody, but for all of them in the Brown household. Christine settles back in her chair, the envelope weighing down her palm. She doesn't open it right away. The courtroom is clearing for recess. The gavel ring of the judge's voice, growing indistinct in the background buzz of reporters, shoving equipment into bags. Her brain spins. Who left it here? Why now? And most of all, what could be in there that would rock this already volatile case? She finally rips open the seal. There's a stack of documents and a flash drive inside. Her eyes scan the first few pages, signed contracts, bank wires, emails, all hinting at Kody's clandestine gun enterprise. But there's more. So much more. Proof she never would have conceived of. Offshore accounts, secret partners, names of individuals she didn't recognize, some of whom she guesses might be affiliated with federal authorities. When you discover a secret larger than you could have ever imagined, the very air around you becomes heavy with tension. Christine's fingers shake as she inserts the flash drive into her computer. The screen comes alive with spreadsheets, contracts, even audio files she doesn't recognize. One of the files grabs her attention, a recording of Kody and one of his nameless associates talking about moving product quietly, keeping the wives in the dark. The words slam into her like a sledgehammer. Kody's manipulation goes deeper than she could have ever guessed. She glances across the room. Kody has yet to pick up on her find, sitting with his attorney whispering desperate plans. Robyn shifts, feeling the anxiety but not able to identify its origin. Christine breathes slowly. She knows what she's been holding might stop this fight, but it might also make everything even more deadly. Her phone vibrates. A text message from her lawyer. "Did you find it?" She responds. "Yes, this changes everything. Be ready." The courtroom doors open once again. The judge calls everything back to order. Christine pockets the envelope in her briefcase, hiding the flash drive discreetly. She stands up as her lawyer nods for her to step onto the witness stand. Courtrooms have the power to amplify every heartbeat, every look, every whispered rumor. Christine can sense it. Christine starts speaking, addressing the revelations that came before her. The tension is clear. Each word she says hits with accuracy, slicing through Kody's protests and Robyn's hushed entreaties. "Your Honor, I found more evidence recently that confirms my previous accounts about Mr. Brown's hidden business activities. It is more extensive than we initially considered." Kody's face goes white, although he attempts to cover it up with a grimacing smile. "More? This is harassment. She's making more things up." The judge arches an eyebrow. "Mrs. Brown, we shall see the evidence, but you need to give it to us now." Christine gestures to her attorney, who quietly transfers the flash drive to the court clerk. The clerk plugs it into the projector. The screen comes alive. Names, numbers, transactions spill out. Kody tenses. The room is in an understated hush. Even Robyn audibly gasps. Christine speaks softly, but below the surface there is a storm. These papers reveal a continuing secret business that was intentionally withheld from the family trust and concealed from this court. All of these actions were intentional and willful. The more at stake, the sharper the edge of each word. Kody reclines in his chair, a cross between anger and panic flashing across his face. "This can't be. She's faking this. Those records can be faked." Christine looks at him unwaveringly. "Faked? Kody, you preserved emails with your own signature. Bank transfers from your own bank accounts. Agreements signed in your own handwriting. This is not made up." Robyn gulps. "Kody, how could you? How could you keep all this from me?" Her voice trembles, a raw emotion of pain and incredulity. Kody doesn't speak. His silence speaks volumes more than any apology ever could. The judge reads the screen, turning pages with growing fascination. "Mr. Brown, do you have any explanation for these transactions?" Kody opens his mouth, closes it. His lawyer whispers urgently into his ear, but Kody's gaze remains locked on Christine. A blend of rage, terror, and maybe the beginnings of understanding. He's possibly finally out of control. Secrets, once secrets no more, have a tendency to make the hunter into the hunted. Christine takes a seat, a spark of fatigue crossing her expression. But within she is fueled by power. For the first time, she's not only standing up for herself, she's laying bare the entire extent of Kody's falseness. She's aware this might create a colossal judgment, one that would bring justice not only for her, but for all family members involved. The courtroom falls silent as the judge looks hard at Kody. "This is relevant evidence. We will have to authenticate these documents, and the court might consider bringing in federal authorities." "Mr. Brown, this has serious implications outside of civil court." Kody's fists clench. The man who had exuded such unshakable confidence now appears delicate, almost vulnerable in his desperation. Robyn bites hard on her lip and suppresses her tears. Christine holds herself together, but her mind is running furiously. She knows this is merely the start, and she knows Kody's next action could be desperate and deadly, because when someone has everything to lose, they will do anything to protect themselves, even if it destroys everything else in the process. As the courtroom adjourns for the day, Christine steps into the hall. Alone for a moment, she glances at the envelope again. A subtle folded note slips out from inside. It's in Kody's handwriting. The message is chilling. "You've gone too far. Some truths should remain buried." Christine stiffens. Her heart races. She understands that what she has revealed isn't merely a court case. It's a powder keg awaiting detonation. The courtroom is heavier than ever before. Each breath reverberates off the vaulted ceiling, and the faint scent of waxed wood combines with the pungent scent of tension hanging in the air. Christine sits upright, the flash drive and envelope tucked safely away in her briefcase. She's not just a plaintiff anymore. She's the woman who has brought a storm of magnitude to threaten the underpinnings of her family. Kody, however, appears cornered. His back is stiff, jaw locked, eyes scanning the room as if looking for a way out. Robyn sits next to him, quiet but obviously shaken, her hands folded so tightly that her knuckles turn white. She looks at Kody, her face entreating, but he hardly notices. The judge orders the court to rise. We will hear arguments on the newly received evidence. Mrs. Brown, you can describe what was inside the envelope. Christine stands, voice firm but with years of pent-up emotion. Your Honor, the envelope has more records and documents evidencing that Mr. Brown deliberately and willfully hid a lucrative gun business from the family trust. The business was not reported in previous disclosures, and cover-up attempts were routine. A silence descends upon the gallery. Reporters' murmurs fade out. All eyes in the room are on Kody, whose face has paled. When the truth comes, it comes in the form of a hammer, and it doesn't leave any corner untouched. Christine's lawyer steps forward, calling Kody's former associate to the stand. The man, already nervous, adjusts his tie and swallows hard. I handled shipments, as instructed. I was told explicitly not to inform any family members, including Mrs. Brown. Everything was to remain confidential. Mr. Brown said it was necessary for the family's financial security. Christine has a knot in her belly, a combination of victory and residual hurt. She's vindicated, but each word brings back the years of lies, sleepless nights, silent betrayals. Kody's attorney stands up. Your Honor, this witness is not credible. He has an agenda. He's overstating. But the judge shakes her head. Mr. Brown, this testimony substantiates physical evidence already presented. To deny it outright without reasoning will not be enough. Christine speaks above the tension, cool but unyielding. I knew he wasn't just hiding money. I thought he was hiding something greater. And now, all of that suspicion is true. Kody lied to all of us, every one of us. He said he loved. Robyn's eyes begin to brim with tears, her lips quivering. Kody, how could you risk everything for this? Kody does not answer. His silence rings like a bell. Vic does not answer. His silence rings like a bell. The greater the stakes, the more desperate the gestures, and the greater the liability for the liar. The judge signals the flash drive to be brought in. As the courtroom projector springs to life, video footage and documents fill the screen. Transactions, emails, even recordings of Kody in the middle of the night negotiating over the phone. The room is charged. All eyes are fixed on the screen, and the rustle of whispers spreads through the crowd. Christine observes Kody intently. His act is breaking down. He mops sweat from his forehead, attempts to adjust his tie, but even the slightest movements betray him. This is what she has been waiting for, rehearsing in her head 1,000 times, and yet the actuality is sharper, more intoxicating than she would have thought. Next, the judge halts the playing and leans forward, his eyes narrowing. Mr. Brown, do you dispute the validity of these recordings and documents? Kody stammers, stuttering. Some of them are out of context. I didn't. Christine interrupts, voice calm but cutting. No, Kody, this isn't about context anymore. This is about truth. You've hidden your business, lied to your family, and misled this court. The evidence doesn't leave room for misinterpretation. Sometimes the calmest words carry the sharpest blows. The courtroom doors swing open, and a new figure enters, a federal agent. He carries a folder, his expression unreadable. The gallery gasps. Christine's lawyer stands, nodding subtly. Your Honor, the agent starts. Having seen the documents presented today, federal agencies are ready to initiate an investigation of Mr. Brown's business transaction. These are possible offenses against federal law in the dealing of firearms. Kody's face goes white. Robyn puts her hand over her mouth, shaking. Even Christine experiences a shiver running down her spine. She did not anticipate this degree of escalation so early. The judge places the folder on her bench, glowering at Kody with an intensity that seems to be able to penetrate steel. Mr. Brown, this court does not condone lying. The consequences of your actions could reach beyond civil court, and we will hold in mind appropriate penalties once the federal investigation is underway. Kody comes to his feet, thumping his hands on the table. This is crazy. Christine has been scheming this for years. She's twisting everything to destroy me. Christine doesn't bat an eye. She looks back at him with unshakable determination. I'm not scheming, Kody. I'm surviving. I'm protecting my family. And I'm bringing the truth to light that you worked so diligently to hide. When the truth is finally revealed, There's no going back, only accounting. Robyn cracks. She stands up shaking, her voice shaking. Kody, all of this for what? How could you subject us to this? You've risked everything, even the people you claim to love, for a business you kept secret from us? Kody's mouth works, but no words emerge. He's caught, not by law, not by Christine, but by the unmistakable burden of his own decision. Christine leans back in her chair, drawing a deep, measured breath. She knows this isn't over. Kody can try to strike back, but the evidence stacks up against him, and the tide is turning in her favor. As the gavel comes down for yet another recess, Christine catches sight of the envelope she found before. Something about it still doesn't feel complete. She zips it safely back into her briefcase, knowing there's one last piece left to play. A secret that can make or break it all. Because in a war of truth against lies, the last move always has the potential to rewrite history. As the courtroom clears out for the day, Kody makes his way to the corner, phone in his hand. A message flashes on the screen. Christine catches a glimpse from afar. A brief line from someone in his inner circle. She has everything. Do not underestimate her next move. Christine's heart races. She knows this battle is hardly won, but she also knows one irrefutable fact. Victory is within reach more than ever. The courtroom is electric. Each whisper, each step, sounds magnified by the high ceilings and blinding fluorescent lights. Christine is at the plaintiff's table, calm but awake, hands folded tidily over her briefcase. Each moment counts. Each detail is crucial. She knows that Kody's next step may be his last opportunity to save anything. Kody, on the other hand, appears as if he is besieged. His hair is slightly tousled, revealing the tension under which he operates. He leans back in his chair, jaw clenched, looking around as if an exit would manifest through the impenetrable walls. Robyn sits next to him, her hands shaking. She too is caught up in the weight of the moment, and knows that things will never be the same again. The judge brings the court to order. We will go forward with final arguments before we enter deliberation. Mrs. Brown, you can start. Christine rises slowly, exuding calm authority. Your Honor, we've laid before you comprehensive evidence of willful concealment of a firearms business, transactions kept hidden from the family trust, and communications that demonstrate intent to deceive. These acts have constituted emotional, financial, and familial harm. We are here seeking responsibility and justice for those injured. The courtroom is still, except for the quiet rustle of papers. Kody's face locks up, and his attorney nuzzles him in alarm. Stay to script. Don't react, he whispers. But Kody's eyes continue to dart toward Christine, a whirlwind of anger and terror written into each line on his face. Courtroom tension isn't merely about the facts. It's the smash-up of feelings that can't be suppressed. Christine's attorney comes forward holding one last bit of evidence, an elaborate timeline outlining Kody's deceit from day one of business operations to the current date. Every entry carefully links transfers, emails, and meetings to him, without leaving any uncertainty. The judge leafs through the timeline, raising an eyebrow. This is comprehensive. Mr. Brown, how do you defend yourself? Kody stands, voice cracking. I never meant to hurt anyone. It was supposed to be confidential, something that the family needed. She's perverting everything. Christine cuts in, voice steady but biting. Needed? Kody, in keeping the family safe. You manipulated us, lied to us, and benefited from us. There's nothing confidential about lying that hurts your loved ones. Robyn's face is white, tears brimming to overflow. I can't believe this, she whispers, shaking her head. At times the most compelling moments in a courtroom aren't words. It's the reaction, the faces, the weight of truth falling on everyone in the room. The judge waves the flash drive once more. The projector sputters, revealing additional audio files. Kody's own words echo back words that substantiate all that Christine has testified. Talks of hidden accounts, shipping arrangements, and directives to keep information from the family. The gallery responds audibly. Gasps, whispers, a sharp collective intake of breath. Christine's chest constricts. This is where all the years of silent suspicion and planning come together. She has outed the man who once ruled her life. She has finally made things. Kody pounds his fist on the table, anger and panic finally overwhelming. This is crazy. None of that shows anything illegal. The judge, unyielding, leans forward. Mr. Brown, your objections are heard. But the evidence is overwhelming. This court now has to balance the weight of your deception and concealment. Christine breathes slowly. Relief and apprehension blend within her. She knows a verdict approaches, yet the uncertainty still torments her. Because even when triumph was imminent, the ultimate decision may shift in one heartbeat. Robyn finally speaks, voice trembling. Kody, I don't know how we go on after. How could you jeopardize everything we have? Kody's answer is a faint, acid whisper. I didn't think anyone would ever discover. Christine leans forward, eyes unforgiving but firm. You underestimated us, Kody. You underestimated me. The judge requests a short recess prior to deliberation. As the room clears, low voices trail behind Christine down the corridor. A reporter whispers, "Did you notice Kody's face? This might be historic." Christine returns the flash drive to her briefcase and passes Kody one final time. She knows the next few moments will set all into motion, not merely her win, but the very future of their family. When secrets of this magnitude are exposed, one wrong move can trigger chaos. As Christine moves into the hall, a cryptic envelope creeps under the door to her lawyer's office. No signature. No suggestion of who might have sent it. She picks it up, shaking, inside snapshots of Kody with a mystery partner. Outside of the gun business, perhaps suggesting more secrets. Christine's heart races. What has she just discovered? And how far will Kody go to keep it from seeing the light of day? The courtroom is near silence, as all find their seat. The atmosphere is oppressive, heavy with tension, choking to breathe. Christine sits at the plaintiff's table, fingers steady in spite of the maelstrom within her. She is aware that this hearing might finally tip the balance. Each detail is crucial. Each word must fall into place. Kody steps in cautiously, his brash swagger lost. His eyes flicker about apprehensive. He looks at Robyn, who gives him only a still shaking presence. For once, he appears less in command, smaller. The hushed whispers of the courtroom waves flow like ripples on the surface of water, each heavy with anticipation. The judge brings the room into order. We will hear closing statement. Mrs. Brown, you may proceed. Christine stands up. She breathes deep, her eyes scanning the room, locking gazes with reporter, family and ultimately with Kody himself. Your Honor, this is not a case of money. It is one of deception, betrayal and hidden manipulation of a family who trusted a man to act in their own best interest. For years we were deceived, instructed to make sacrifices, while profits were covertly drained, concealed, and hidden. My intention has never been retaliate. It has been just. Kody squirmed. He tries to get a word out, but Christine's steady, firm voice brooks no interruption. When a voice has the authority of truth, no interruptions can oppose it. She continued, voice rising slightly, controlled but charged with emotion. We have presented irrefutable evidence, financial documents, emails, audio recordings and testimony that confirm the deliberate concealment of a business, one that has not only financially harmed our family but has emotionally devastated. The law, Your Honor, must recognize the deliberate nature of these acts. Kody slouches toward his lawyer, whispering wildly, we can contest this. She can't possibly establish intent. But Christine doesn't blink. Her gaze is fixed on his, unflinching and unyielding. Intent is not something that needs to be conjured up, Kody. It's written down in your own words, your own actions, and your own choices. Robyn's hand spasms in Kody, but she remains silent. Even she feels the enormity of what Christine has said. Truth has the ability to lay low even the best constructed fantasy. The judge nods serious. Mrs. Brown, your arguments are recorded. Mr. Brown, you may proceed with closing argument. Kody rises, voice strained, striving for a calm he doesn't possess. Your Honor, this is magnified. The evidence has been pulled out of context. My motives were never sinister. I was trying to keep the family safe. Christine's attorney leans forward, interjecting gently but firmly. Your Honor, intent does not negate action. The evidence indicates intentional concealment and deception. The judge glares at Kody. Mr. Brown, the court has to balance actions versus intention. Testimony, documents, and recording all indicate intentional concealment. Any argument of intent shall be heard, but it doesn't negate responsibility. Kody's face is pale now, beads of sweat forming along his hairline. The man who once commanded the room with confidence now seems fragile, exposed, almost haunted. When someone loses control over their own narrative, desperation becomes visible and dangerous. Christine rises once more to deliver the emotional wallop. I trusted, I suffered, and I watched for years. I bore Kody's secrets along with my family, praying one day the truth would be accepted. Today is that day. I am not here to ruin him, but to allow justice to reign. For the family he deceived, for the trust he violated. The courtroom is dead silent. Even the gallery seems to hold its breath. Kody sits, head in hands, Robyn beside him trembling. Christine sits slowly, her chest heaving, but her eyes remain locked on him. The judge puts on her glasses and opens up a folder. This court has considered all evidence, testimony, and documentation that have been submitted. The level of concealment and deceit is high. The court rules in favor of Mrs. Brown. Mr. Brown is hereby held liable for the willful concealment of business undertakings and mismanagement of family trust funds. Gasps erupt across the courtroom. Christine's hands shake slightly, a mix of relief and lingering anxiety. She fought for years, and now justice has been recognized. Because victory is sweetest when it comes after years of endurance and truth. Kody slams his fist on the table, his voice shaking. This isn't over. You'll regret this, Christine. Christine stands in his glare, unblinking. No, Kody, the truth does not rue itself. You should have been upfront to begin with. Robyn hides her face in her hands, tears flowing silently. The harsh reality of the judgment is coming crashing down. Kody's kingdom of lies is falling apart. But just as the judge is about to recess, Christine sees a man at the rear of the courtroom pass a note to her attorney. She catches a glimpse of it, an additional piece of information, something that could make things all the more complicated. Her stomach clenches. Even in triumph, there are shadows and one step can alter everything. Christine opens the note cautiously. Within a column of names, addresses, and unidentified accounts, potentially unveiling even deeper levels of Kody's clandestine enterprises. Her eyes expand. In case this information proves genuine, the case may well not be over yet, and the ramifications for Kody could be devastating. The courtroom is charged, yet there's an air of inevitability. Christine occupies the plaintiff's table, briefcase within easy reach, envelope and flash drive secure within. She knows today marks the end of years of lying, betrayal, and emotional toll. Each heartbeat is amplified, each whisper in the room booming like a drum. Kody sits across from her, his customary demeanor broken. His face is white, jaw clenched, eyes evading hers. Robyn leans beside him in silence, hands shaking. The gravity of the evidence has crushed the assurance he used to convey. The judge stands up, demanding silence. Based on reading the evidence, testimony, and supporting documentation presented, this court holds Mr. Kody Brown responsible for willful concealment of business activities and misappropriation of family trust funds. Therefore, he is hereby ordered to pay a judgment of $2.4 million to Mrs. Christine Brown. Gasps fill the room. Reporters murmur frantically, pens flying across notepads. Christine feels her chest tighten, a mixture of relief, disbelief, and triumph. She has fought for years, and now justice has been formally recognized. When truth finally prevails, even the longest shadows can no longer obscure it. Kody slams his fist against the table, voice shaking with rage. This is unbelievable. You'll regret this. Christine stands his glare down unflinching. No, Kody, I don't regret standing up for the truth. You should have been truthful. This judgment isn't revenge, it's accountability. Robyn hides her face in her hands, silent tears running down her face. She had loved him, stood up for him, and now she gets the full revelation of the lying. The judge goes on, her voice stern. This court stresses that the effects of dishonesty go far beyond monetary reparation. Mr. Brown's behavior has significantly impaired the emotional health of his family, and this verdict serves to correct, as far as possible, the injury done. Christine breathes out slowly, the weight falling away from her shoulders. Each sleepless night, each uncertainty, each hardship, she had braved them all for this one moment. Because sometimes justice isn't about money, it's about the truth being heard and recognized. As the gavel comes down, marking the conclusion of the proceedings, Christine rises. She addresses the gallery, her gaze sweeping across the room. She spots reporters, loved ones, and even a handful of sympathetic onlookers nodding in discreet recognition of her triumph. Kody sits slumped over, beaten, his aura of control utterly destroyed. He glances toward Robyn, who gives no comfort, only silent, anguished recognition. The empire of secrets that he constructed, the deceptions that he perpetrated, the bonds of trust that he destroyed. Everything now lies laid bare. Christine emerges outside into the glaring sunlight. She takes deep breaths, holding the heat on her face, the air thick with the buzz of reporters' voices surrounding the courthouse. She has triumphed, not merely legally, but morally, emotionally, and on a personal level. Standing up for truth gives you strength you never knew you possessed, even after decades of lies. As Christine moves away, she reopens the envelope. There is the list of hidden accounts and contacts therein, traces of Kody's covert operation. She stands still, wondering what to do next. The evidence would set off more investigation, but she knows her part is over. Justice was served in this court of law, and now it is time for life to go on. She looks back at Kody, still inside, head down, and experiences a quiet satisfaction. Not revenge, not anger. Just the serene knowledge that truth cannot be hidden forever. The ultimate judgment is not a number, it's a message. Lies can't stand when uncovered. As Christine turns away, the tale stays with you. What would you do if someone you knew lied to you for decades? Would you uncover the truth, or would the secrets lie deep? Comment below with your opinion. Does Christine need to take further action against Kody, or is the $2.4 million judgment sufficient justice?